why they do it this way, but they have the gold in their balance sheet on the asset side and the revaluation account, which mirrors it on the liability side. The rule is you can't offset a liability with your gold, and for whatever reason, it's still valued at $35 an ounce across all of Europe, as an example. The Bretton Woods number. Now, I'm not sure. I used to know. I mean, it's been so long that why they moved the U.S. price up to 42.22. I don't remember exactly why, but suffice it to say, the official price in the United States is 42.22 on the books. He said gold will go to a level that no one would ever expect. It will be pegged to a new system and it will never come back down.
In today's news recap, silver climbs 1.6% as geopolitical tensions grow. The price of precious metals grew on Monday as mounting geopolitical tensions appeared to have increased the appetite for safe haven assets. Ukrainian forces are confirmed to have made a surprise incursion into border regions in Russia last week, seemingly raising concerns about the further escalation of the conflict, which started in February 2022. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky earlier noted that Kyiv is awaiting approval from Washington, London, and Paris to use their long-range capabilities on Russian territory. Pentagon previously underlined that Ukraine's operation in Russia's Kursk region was consistent with Washington's policy. While Moscow ordered the evacuation of another region, Belgorod, near its border with Ukraine, amid the growing turmoil. Silver rose 1.65% to trade at $27.90 an ounce. Gold added 0.36% to trade at $2,439. And other commodities like platinum also had modest gains. Now we'll show you the best clips of the latest interview, but first hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with a silver bug. Enjoy the episode.
And you know, you got the head of the Dutch National Bank who keeps talking about this. He keeps talking about revaluing gold. In fact, I think I can pull up here really quick. I think, bear with me. I'm going to do this as fast as I can. I just read something today from it. He says, let's see, the head of his name is Klaas Knot. And in October of 2022, he is the head governor of Dutch Central Bank. He said the balance sheet of the Dutch Central Bank is solid because, make this bigger so I can actually read it, is solid because we also have gold reserves, and the gold revaluation account is more than 20 billion euros, which we may not count as equity, but it is there. Now, it's interesting to understand that when we talk about the revaluation account, that, you know, why do they give it that name, I guess, first and foremost? Why would they give it the name of a revaluation account if it wasn't something that they noticed? And I think it's option number 4, right? And option number 1 for the Fed would be to inflate, the way all governments have done. And option number 2 would be to default. Option number 3 I focused on for the last 4 years, and that was incite the world to no longer trust the United States, to no longer have a need to use the dollar for oil, to sign an executive order to go green, to stabilize the country, weaponize the dollar in the treasury market, and have everyone dump dollars. There's something called Operation Sandman that people should Google. Over 100 plus countries in theory, and I don't know how true this is or not, but Mike Adams sure thinks it is, and he's a smart guy, that they've all agreed at one point to flip the switch. And it would happen at night is the way that it's written down, the night of the switch, they call it, where in unison, they will all dump US dollars in treasuries. Now, if all of a sudden Project Enbridge and the unit token get ratified and it comes out in October, I mean, it is not beyond the scope of my imagination to see that come to fruition. The slowly, little by little by little by little divestiture of dollars and treasuries, which we have seen, is positioning. And the accumulation of commodities like gold, which has doubled the performance of the 10-year treasury for 25 years with no counterparty risk. It's happening. So all of these countries, and we're supposed to be the United Kingdom is now going to be the biggest purchaser of our treasuries, along with Ireland and the Cayman Islands. I got some oceanfront real estate to sell you in Minneapolis if you believe that that really is legit. It's not legit. I mean, Jim Willie says they're paying them under the table. I don't care what it is. One broke nation buying the debt of another broke nation is just not really smart. And it shouldn't be even considered an asset. but it is, and it won't be the way things are going. It looks like the way that if indeed the unit comes about and you don't need to hold treasuries because gold is outperforming it with no counterparty risk and will be the primary component of a new settlement currency, you don't need to hold dollars either that are being inflated away by $100,000 a second. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's $1 trillion every 100 days. 100 grand a second is being pissed away and bankrupting your grandchildren and my children and all of these people that are working their tail off right now only to be indebted by fiscal irresponsibility. So the dollar's days are numbered ultimately, as are the Treasury. I do believe that. So as we talk about the gold revaluation account, to me, that's option number 4. You just revalue the price of gold as high as it possibly can go, legitimately, and write off your debt. Now, even in the case of the U.S., it's pretty bad because every $4,000 increase in the price of gold, if we have 261 million ounces, would result in $1 trillion that could go free and clear into the Treasury account, the TGA. So you raise it to $20,000, that only gives you $5 trillion free and clear to go into the Treasury. And we're still, we have 35 trillion in debt and 150 trillion in unfunded liabilities. So it's not a magic pill, but it certainly helps. Anyways, getting back to your point. Trump spoke at the Bitcoin meeting. And right after he spoke at the Bitcoin meeting, there was a lady who spoke, and her name, Senator Cynthia Lummis was her name. And Cynthia Lummis proposed funding the strategic Bitcoin reserve by partially revaluing the Federal Reserve's gold. And she wrote a bill to do this. And she's talking, so now you got the West talking about it. She says that Treasury Secretary with no congressional approval needed, that would be our friend Janet, could instruct the Fed Chair Jerome to revalue U.S. official gold, which mechanically creates a deposit into the U.S. Treasury General Account, TGA, free and clear. The Treasury can spend as it sees fit. And Senator Lummis's proposal is revaluing the gold and taking some of that excess money and using it to buy Bitcoin for a strategic Bitcoin account. The point I want to get across is they know it's there. Now, the question is our gold really there? Is the 261 million ounces really there? Hasn't been audited for a very long time, but I find it ironic that they call it the gold revaluation account. It's almost too ironic to not be applied. Again, too stupid to be stupid. I don't know. It just seems like they have that in their back pocket.
In today's news recap, geopolitical tensions drive silver prices higher, more gains ahead. Silver price showed an upward trend, reaching an intraday high of $27.57 an ounce. Geopolitical tensions and expectations of Federal Reserve rate cuts have bolstered silver prices. Conflicts in the Middle East have heightened concerns of a broader regional conflict, supporting safe haven assets like silver. Anticipated Fed rate cuts have further boosted silver's price. However, the upward momentum may be challenged by positive risk sentiment and a strong U.S. dollar, which typically limits silver's gains. U.S. dollar strengthens amid inflation data and Fed rate cut expectations. The U.S. dollar is gaining strength despite market expectations of a 25 basis point Fed rate cut in September, with some anticipating a larger 50 basis point cut. This dollar strength is likely driven by anticipation of upcoming U.S. inflation data. However, this boost may be short-lived due to the expected rate cut and overall optimistic market sentiment. In a risk-on environment where investors are more willing to take risks, safe haven assets like the U.S. dollar typically face challenges. Despite various factors supporting the dollar and preventing significant declines, Fed Governor Michelle Bowman noted on Sunday that the Fed might not be ready to cut rates in September, citing inflation risks and a strong labor market. However, this has not significantly boosted the U.S. dollar or impacted silver prices. Looking ahead, investors are cautiously awaiting key U.S. inflation data before making major decisions on silver. Now we'll show you the best clips of the latest interview, but first, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with a silver bug.
So I think that's something to watch. Look, when you see China raise the price of silver by $4, that's not revaluation, but it just goes to show that the real price is what someone will pay for it. So all of these Western countries and all of these, including China, they're all accumulated massive amounts of debt and they're all buying gold. So why not revalue it? It gets your balance sheet in order. And now gold goes way up here. It's used to peg to a new system. It never comes back down. And you know who used to say that? God rest his soul, Jim Sinclair. He said gold will go to a level that no one would ever expect. It will be pegged to a new system and it will never come back down. And, you know, maybe he will be right, be proven right. I think he underestimated. I think his number was 10,000. James Rickards is saying 27,000. Who knows how high it will go? But I do believe you can only pee in the punch bowl so long before everyone says, I'm done drinking that. And you need to do something to inspire confidence. And that is gold and blockchain technology that is coming. That's why all of these banks are buying gold and repatriating it, central banks. That's why you're seeing them go to great lengths to blur and to use the suppression against us to massively accumulate and de-dollarize until something like Operation Sandman happens, where you wake up on a Monday morning, just like we did this last Monday, to see the Nikkei get hammered. Instead, it will be the dollar and the treasury market that open limit down immediately. So hope it doesn't happen, but I'd bet pretty strongly that it does. Some form, something like that.
Another phrase that's been coming back to me, in addition to the ones that I was slowly waking up to over the past month here, is the
sanctions on countries that move away from the dollar, that want to cozy up with the BRICS. Those are the same mistakes we've made forever. You got his VP talking about saying the same stupid things that Jared Bernstein says. Well, maybe it's not such a good idea to be the world reserve currency after all. I like him. I think he seems like a smart guy, but I don't like that. I mean, it's been a privilege we should be clinging to, and we've done everything to lose it. And I think we have lost. I mean, you could argue that, I would argue the hegemony's dead, the supremacy's not, but that could be gone as soon as October if they issue the new settlement currency that will settle for energy in the unit, which is 40% gold backed. And I did an interview with Vince Lancy, smart guy, and he says, yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see Russia and China back their currencies by gold too. That's why they're not telling us how much they have. So it comprises the majority of the currency within the 60% in the unit currency basket. 60% currency, 40% gold, held within the borders of the countries that mint these tokens. So they don't have to send their gold to Beijing or Moscow or any central authority. It is not a BRICS currency. It's a settlement cryptocurrency traded over Mbridge. And they all get their own monetary autonomy, but they get to hold their gold in their own borders. And that's why you've seen over 40 countries bring their gold back from the Bank of England and the New York Fed, which has always given access to the COMEX and the LBMA. But over the last 100 days, the cumulative volume in Shanghai, both the metals and the futures exchange, is up over 200%. And now has a greater volume than the COMEX does. It's the number 2 most influential metals exchange on the planet. That's what will happen when these exchanges get exposed as being Bernie Madoff, as being a scam, as being massively rehypothecated and fractionally reserved, where the LBMA can trade up to 2.9 billion ounces of silver per day. That is 3.5 times annual global mine supply. Really, that's 10 times more than the silver they say they have available that isn't encumbered. There's 800 million ounces there. Supposedly 500 million ounces belong to the ETFs. So there's 300 million ounces and they're trading 3 billion ounces per day. Interesting. So when you talk about these exchanges being, I think, will be exposed for what they are, that's when we will see the price being set in places like Shanghai, in places like Moscow, in Dubai. The head of the Shanghai Gold Exchange in 2015 said, when China is able to speak at the table, the real price of gold will be observed. They know what we're doing. The new BRICS grain exchange, the guy who's running it said, all of these commodities, we produce more than the West does, but we don't control the price. It's controlled on COMEX. They know what we're doing, and they're using it against us. All of the commodities they are accumulating, and they're using the Western management, if you will, if you want to call it that, or manipulation, against us. It will end badly the way all manipulations do. The question is it the commercial banks that go down or the managed money? My bet would be the managed money, because one of these days, just like what we're seeing right now, you're going to see in the next COT report that the commercial banks have gone much longer, because when the hedge funds sell, which they've done massively, and cover, the other side of that is taken by the commercial banks, who will go long. And one of these days, they will just let it run and bury the hedge funds. And the attempted covering, naked covering, ain't going to look pretty. It will put hedge funds out of business and jack the price up to the stratosphere, is how it ultimately happened. But when that happens, COMEX and LBMA will be viewed as a scam, and the real price setting for all commodities, from grain to oil to precious metals to rare earths, they will all go to those exchanges. And you got Jim Willey talking about the prospect of the BRICS issuing a OPEC-style cartel for silver.
What do you think of Andy's take? Do you think gold and silver price manipulation will end up soon with prices soaring to record highs, or do you disagree with him? Post in the comments section your price prediction for silver by the end of the year, and share with the stackers your exit strategy or buying levels. Me personally, I'd be looking forward to unwind a significant portion of my silver at $50 and would be selling all my stack if we get past $100. Now watch this video right here because it's a perfect fit for you. I'll see you on the other side.